You queue up a 30-second clip in Seedance 2.5 and it ships in 4K, but FLUX 3 caps you at 720p in 20 seconds, and your client deadline is in an hour. Seedance 2.5 is ByteDance's production-ready video model. FLUX 3 is Black Forest Labs' early access newcomer with open weights, and the real question is which one you can actually ship work with today. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Test 1. Cost and pricing. So you're generating video at scale, maybe 50 clips a day, and you realize you have no idea what either model actually costs per clip. That's a real problem when the bill lands. Seedance 2.5 has community-reported rates around $0.04 to $0.35 per second, while FLUX 3 sells credit packs from $11.90 a month, but nobody can tell you what a single clip costs. I went through every published number I could find, and here's what I came up with. Neither vendor puts official pricing on their docs page, so both are a community-reported territory. Seedance at least gives you a per-second rate you can run math on, roughly $0.24 to $0.42 for a 5-second clip, while FLUX 3's credit packs are harder to translate into a per-clip cost, which means you're basically flying blind on budget. Seedance 2.5 takes cost transparency because you can actually forecast it, and FLUX 3 just doesn't give you that yet. I expected both to be equally murky, but Seedance's community-reported per-second rate gives it a real edge, so that puts Seedance 2.5 up 1 to 0. I've spent enough time inside these video models to know that the pricing confusion alone has cost people real money on real projects, so drop a comment if murky per-clip costs have ever wrecked your budget. Test 2. Speed. So you're on a Friday afternoon turnaround, client wants 10 clips revised by end of day, and your model is sitting in a gated waitlist queue. That's not a hypothetical. That's what FLUX 3's early access situation looks like right now. Seedance 2.5 is on a public API you can call today, and FLUX 3 is one you might not get access to for weeks. I went looking for independent speed benchmarks on both and came up empty on FLUX 3, because its early access is gated and nobody outside the waitlist has run it. Seedance 2.5 is community reported as near real-time, which ByteDance hasn't confirmed. So take that with some caution, but the directional signal is clear. One model you can test right now, and one you can't. Seedance 2.5 takes speed on available signal, because a model you can't access has no speed to report, and the community data on Seedance points near real time. I didn't expect the gap to be this stark, but FLUX 3's gated access makes it impossible to call. So Seedance 2.5 goes up 2 to 0. Okay, so Seedance 2.5 is ahead on cost and speed right now. But the next two tests are where things get more interesting, because context and output limits could expose a real ceiling for production work, and deployment flexibility is where FLUX 3 has a genuine argument that could change how you think about which model fits your actual workflow. Test 3. Context and output limits. You're generating a product demo video, need a 25-second single-pass clip at 4K, and you want to feed in 30 reference images to keep the brand consistent. But if your model caps out at 20 seconds, 720p, and 10 references, you're stitching clips together and color correcting by hand, which is hours of extra work per project. The part that got me was how wide the gap is on every single dimension here. Seedance 2.5 generates up to 30 seconds in one pass, while FLUX 3 maxes at 20. Seedance outputs up to 4K, while FLUX 3 is capped at 720p at launch, with 1080p expected later but not here yet, and on reference inputs, Seedance takes up to 50 multimodal refs versus FLUX 3's 10, which is a verified, documented gap on all three counts. Seedance 2.5 wins context and output limits cleanly, and it's not subtle. 4K versus 720p is a professional-grade gap, not a minor spec difference. And I ran the numbers twice because I didn't expect FLUX 3 to be this far behind on resolution at launch. So that puts Seedance 2.5 at 3-0. Test 4. Deployment and modality. You're a developer who needs to self-host a video model, fine-tune it on your own data, and keep the weights on your own infrastructure. And if the model is closed and proprietary, that door is completely shut. Open weights change everything for that use case, and this is the one dimension where the two models land in very different places. Watch what happens when you look at the deployment story. Seedance 2.5 is closed, proprietary, and locked to ByteDance's surfaces. Volcano Engine, Byte Plus, Dramina, Gming, while FLUX 3 has an open weights dev backbone coming, which means self-hosting and fine-tuning are genuinely on the table. Seedance wins on breadth of access today, but FLUX 3 wins on the flexibility that actually matters to developers who want to own their stack. FLUX 3 takes deployment and modality because open weights is a real documented differentiator that Seedance 2.5 simply can't match right now, and I expected Seedance to sweep this category on API breadth, but the open weights angle is a genuine win for FLUX 3. So the final score lands at Seedance 2.5 3, FLUX 3 1. So where does Seedance 2.5 clearly beat FLUX 3? Longer single pass clips at 30 seconds versus 20, plus a beta ultra-long video mode that goes up to 180 seconds. Higher output resolution at 4K versus 720p, which is a real gap for professional delivery. Way more reference inputs at 50 multimodal refs versus 10. And it's available right now on a public API, Dramina, and Gming with no waitlist required. Now, where does FLUX 3 beat Seedance 2.5? An open weights backbone coming for the dev version means self-hosting and fine-tuning on your own infrastructure, something Seedance just doesn't allow, plus native synchronized audio in every clip with early reports calling out the dialogue quality as genuinely natural, and community reports suggest FLUX 3's generation costs could land below Seedance once it's fully out. If you need to ship video work today, Seedance 2.5 is the call, full stop. 4K output, 30-second clips, public API, no waitlist. And if you're a developer who needs open weights, self-hosting, and can wait for FLUX 3 to clear early access, that's the one worth watching. One thing the docs don't spell out, FLUX 3's 1080p resolution is listed as coming later, but I couldn't find a timeline anywhere for when that upgrade actually ships. So if you jump in on early access expecting 1080p, you're generating at 720p until that update lands with no ETA on the roadmap. Alright, so if you're still figuring out which AI tools are actually worth your time right now, I just put out a full breakdown on Claude Opus 4.8 and whether it's still worth using in 2025. It's called Claude Opus 4.8. Still worth using, and it covers a lot of the same production readiness questions we just worked through here, so that one's worth a watch next.